got some rain in the forecast. We've got a Warren Central grad, now a part of the Indianapolis Colts, and we're at a Friday. How good is that, ladies?
That's good.
It's wonderful news.
Oh,
The
it's
best
good.
news that we've heard all week, right?
Wonderful news for several reasons.
So we're going to get to all of that, and we've got a heartwarming story about a pregnant mom who had COVID a couple of years ago, and she was in a health crisis and needed to be put on life support. The medical team delivered her baby. She was out of it, had no idea that this was all going on. She met that medical team today and was able to thank them. You're going to want to see that story, all part of our Friday night, 10 o'clock. And the Colts are on the clock. We're going to talk about who they drafted in the second round, and we're going to talk about who they drafted in the third round, all coming up before Angela is going to be talking about weather.
Yeah, we're kind of in between two weather systems today. Not a lot. Well, I didn't see any sunshine. I'm sure it was up there somewhere.
Right.
And not a lot of rain either. We had a few pockets of drizzle. That is moving out. We're in between two weather systems right now. The one you see out west will get here tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Take advantage. Early half of tomorrow is dry, 45 at 8 a.m. We'll be 65 to 74 highs, and then anytime after 2, 3 o'clock, chance of a couple showers and thunderstorms. This is not going to be a washout, but just be prepared. If you have outdoor plans tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, check Live Doppler 13 radar first, as the rainstorm activity may briefly interrupt those afternoon and evening plans. You can see with Future Track 13, the majority of that moves out. What follows, much, much cooler air, and we're talking temperatures on Sunday, upper 40s and low 50s.
Wait a minute.
Yes, and then we'll have another round of some spotty showers on Sunday afternoon and evening as well. And first day of May, right now looks about 20 degrees colder than where we should be. Our average high is nearing 70, and we'll get a couple of days, several in fact, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, only in the 50s.
May starts Monday. This doesn't sound like May weather that we're getting here at the end of April.
I had a viewer email today. It was, please send warm and dry weather. And they didn't sign their name, nothing. It was just, I want warm and dry weather. And I said, me too.
How you feeling about this forecast,
That's
Felicia?
so funny.
Was it you?
Yeah.
In disguise that sent me that email, Felicia?
You know, you're awesome, Angela, but I got to send those prayers to the sky. I send those to the sky.
I agree with you.
All right,
Yeah, no, we're ready.
So let's talk about the NFL draft. The Colts, of course, drafted Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida, yesterday. Today, in the third round, moments ago, they have drafted a wide receiver, Josh Downs, from University of North Carolina in round 3.
That makes sense because the quarterback has to have someone to throw the ball.
Exactly.
That'll make Jacob happy. He wanted wide receivers.
Right.
Jacob, who works here with
I
us
mean,
in
the
the
Colts
studio.
have a couple of a couple of pass catchers, but this, rookie might be the guy that the Colts need.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know enough about him yet. We'll ask our sports guys, and we'll have more on that tonight at 11. Do want to put the picture of the cornerback that the Colts drafted tonight. So this is Julius Brents. His nickname his entire life is Juju. The cool thing about Juju Brents is that he is from Warren Central High School here in Indiana.
Nice.
He was drafted today. He was in Westfield, I guess, with friends, and got the phone call that he has been drafted by his hometown team. His favorite players growing up, Bob Sanders, who of course was a safety with the Colts back in the heyday, and Peyton Manning. And so he's been watching the Colts his entire life. He played at Kansas State. He's a tall cornerback, and that's a player that the Colts desperately needed because we ended up having one of our cornerbacks leave in a trade with the Dallas Cowboys. And so this is a good thing. So, hey, we got Juju Brents coming back. Now, he does have a wrist injury, but he said during a Zoom interview with reporters a little while ago that he figures to be ready to go in terms of camp. He's a very tall, lengthy cornerback. And so, Felicia and Angela, I think this is going to be a good thing.
Tall, fast.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Also, welcome on home. I mean, that's just
cool.
always exciting to be in your hometown like that. Have everybody rooting for you.
That's for sure. And we all know how good Warren Central is in high school football.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're happy to have Julius Brents, otherwise known as Juju. And so we're really excited to have him back and with a new coach, new quarterback, and now a new cornerback on the defensive side. That's going to be a good thing. So we'll get back to Angela in a moment. We do want to talk about one of the big stories today that I think really got our attention, because school safety obviously has been in the news so much. And at Greenfield High School this week, Felicia, there was a former student who got into the building and then started doing a live stream on Instagram and made some pretty alarming comments about the principal and even talked about shooting. And so our Lauren Kostick was there today and has this story.
That former student live streaming the whole thing on her Instagram. And it's not just the fact that she got into the school that's concerning, but also the comments she made while inside.
Why are you in here just walking around? Because your school has no security and I could have shot that school up, huh?
Just before that, the video shows the former student in the school. It happened Wednesday morning, right when classes started. The superintendent said she walked in with other students, and when a teacher spotted her, she told them she needed a transcript. The former student was then directed to the office, but instead went into a bathroom before roaming the hallways. About 8 minutes into the video, she was stopped by a school resource officer and escorted out.
It just makes you feel like you've been violated a little bit.
Superintendent Harold Olin said there are adults that monitor these entrances, but that morning there weren't as many with an award program happening.
We're doing a lot of the right things. We still have human error that happens from time to time. Wednesday was an example of that.
He says at the time they also didn't know she was recording the incident.
So we've had some questions. Why didn't we send something out about it? That would be the rationale. We didn't know it was recorded. We thought it was something that was pretty small and contained.
Now looking at ways to make sure this doesn't happen again, including more staff at the entrances.
When we make some mistakes like this, or when something falls through the cracks, we're going to make some adjustments. We're already doing that.
Now that former student also received a no trespassing letter, which means she is no longer allowed on this property. And the Greenfield police were also notified about this incident. In Greenfield, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
It's a pretty scary thing when somebody starts, talking about, a principal that way.
Yeah, you don't even
violence.
play around
Right.
with anything like that these
Right.
days. I'm very curious as to what her motive was. I mean, I got to say, it seemed personal in the video how she was addressing the principal.
Right.
And then just what's your goal of doing this? So
Yeah.
I have more questions which may or may not come out. But clearly the most important conversation here, security.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, interesting story. We'll continue to follow that out of Greenfield. All right, let's talk about our one of my favorite stories that happened today, this reunion that took place at the hospital. So imagine this, 2 years ago, you're pregnant, you're 7 months pregnant, you get COVID. And remember how scary that was. And first responders in the hospital working as hard as they do, and how frightening that was a couple of years ago for a lot of people, how many people were getting sick. So this woman ends up with COVID. She's pregnant, 7 months pregnant, ends up having the baby, and she doesn't have any recollection of any of this. And the little baby is born, everything is fine. Here we are 2 years later, and the family goes back to say thank you to the medical care people that were there and acted as heroes. Here's that story. It's a reunion 2 years in the making. Former patients meeting their medical heroes. Tammy Cunningham does not remember these people, but they helped save her life.
COVID took such a toll on all of us, but when it put an otherwise healthy pregnant mom and a baby in danger, it was truly heartbreaking for us.
In May of 2021, Tammy was 7 months pregnant, diagnosed with COVID, and having a lot of trouble breathing. Her husband also had COVID at the time.
I was stuck at home taking care of the other kids. I had to make decisions over the phone. I couldn't be there. So it was just a really hard time for all of us.
His wife was put on life support.
I was put in a coma on ECMO, and when I woke up from my coma, I was no longer pregnant.
The IU team delivered her baby boy. It would be 1 month, though, before Tammy could finally meet her son.
And the nurse put him in my arms, and that was the best feeling ever. I just started crying and telling him how beautiful he was.
Callum will turn 2 years old in May. He's had chronic lung disease, but Mom tells us the family's first boy has a spunky personality.
It's way different than having a girl.
For the staff at IU Health
It's really exciting to see you doing so well.
and a grateful family, Friday's reunion was beautiful.
I'm very grateful and happy, and I have been waiting almost 2 years to meet everybody. He's our miracle.
So what a beautiful family. They've got all girls and now Callum, this little boy. And, you know, look, this has not been easy for this family. You know, imagine you go into the hospital and your husband cannot be with you, and you have this baby in the hospital. And the other thing that the staff was talking about was the bravery and the courage of Tammy to talk about having PTSD. Having gone through all of this, she's been dealing with some PTSD and has also had some memory problems here in the last couple of years. And her son, as we mentioned, had some lung problems. And look, we pray everybody's going to be okay, but what a wonderful thing for the doctors and nurses to be able to love this family and for this family to say thank you for everything you did.
It's a happy ending, a beautiful reunion story I think that we all need, and like you said, a chance for the first responders. They don't always see the positive outcomes or any, you know, you usually see the negative outcomes right away, but you know, to see someone on their recovery and to see them thriving in life is cool.
That is for sure. All right, how's our weekend weather looking?
Not a washout. Tomorrow is still the pick of the weekend if you want to do some outdoor things. Temperatures 65 to 70. Storm chances arrive after 2, 3, or 4 o'clock, but again, even it's not going to be widespread. Everybody gets wet, you know, late afternoon, early evening. They're going to be that scattered variety. Then we've got more showers on tap for Sunday, but Sunday only in the low 50s for highs. So cool.
Do we get a 70 in the next?
I'm still calling for 70 on Thursday next week.
Yeah. Okay, and the mini marathon is a week from tomorrow.
Yes, right now, early look is dry.
Okay, that's good.
Early look is dry.
And 75?
I don't know what runners want. Runners don't want too cold, and they definitely don't want too warm. And they don't want
I'm talking about what I want. So we have to be out there as well. And I remember last year, and
was it cold?
It was
chilly.
cold, and I don't think it was wet. Well, no, there had been some rain, but it wasn't horrible.
I think runners do like it a little cool. They certainly don't like it hot and humid, and so it doesn't sound like we're going to have any of that problem next week.
It doesn't appear that way.
Okay, 65.
Okay, there you go.
She's negotiating down. I appreciate that.
We're going to continue to follow the Colts moves in the NFL draft, and we will see you in about 45 minutes over on Channel 13 with the extended forecast. Get you all set for the weekend. Have a great night.